And when I shifted my focus from I need to get this and I need to do this to get this, to the thing that allows me to be in this place of love and operating from that place of love, then surprisingly things started to click for me. You know, this financial freedom was put on a pedestal. So everyone looks up to it, everyone dreams about this financial freedom, and I did too. I was conditioned to believe this, just as people are conditioned to believe you need to fight to earn your place under the sun. Nothing could be further from the truth. So when I started fighting against myself every single day, grinding and trying to take action and doing, it just became harder and harder. All of my efforts were just seemingly wasted. What really is effective is shifting your focus from having, from doing, to just simply being and seeing what arises from this being, what kind of doing comes out. The doing then becomes an expression of this being, and the having just follows when this whole cycle becomes complete. I hit my first 20K month when I wasn't even thinking about hitting 20K a month. My focus was shifted from I need this and I need to get this and I want this and I must take massive action to get this. Oh, if I don't take massive action, then I won't grow. My focus shifted from that to let's see what I love. You know, let's just do these videos and help people. Let's see what happens. And when I shifted my focus from I need to get this and I need to do this to get this, to the thing that allows me to be in this place of love and operating from that place of love, then surprisingly things started to click for me. That happened because I shifted my focus from I need to get something, oh my God, I'm so insecure and you know things aren't going well, to I love this, I want to do this. I want to keep making videos, I want to keep helping customers. And when that happened, I hit my first 20K a month. So just when the thought of wanting and needing to get something went away from my awareness, that's when it came to me. So this led me to the epiphany of, in order to really receive something, you must be open to receiving it in the first place. Someone who's closed off will never be able to receive anything. So in order to receive something, you must be open in the first place to receiving it. Now, what does being open mean? Lack of better words, being open just generally means being empty and receptive. When your cup is empty, then we can put stuff in it, right? When you say, I know this and I'm already great, then you won't ever be better. If you think you're already great, like if you think about the greatest parents, right? A great parent will never say, I'm a great dad. They'll never say that, because people who say they're great at something, they're probably not. They're probably really bad at it. And they think they're great. It's in this ignorance that the truth gets lost. So to be open, you must first be empty. Anything that you want in your life, it's already there. You just have to be open to receiving it. Instead of being closed off in all of the ideas that you have about it, all of the beliefs that you're holding to be true about it, you've just got to be open to receiving it. So first thing you've got to do is externally look at your life right now. What are you focusing on? When you feel frustrated that you can't achieve a goal, what's your primary focus on? If you look at life right now, there's a certain flow to it. So there's this certain flow that life is intending to take. And within this flow, you're this tiny speck in this flow that life is taking. Now, you can navigate the flow, or you can try to control the flow. When you try to control the flow of life, that's when you get into problems. Because life is tending to a certain way. And now you try to control this flow by being controlling. So what do I mean by that? To give you an example of that. Let's say a prospect isn't ready to buy from you yet, but you keep trying to force the prospect to buy. You can tell that they're inching away. Instead of letting them go, you keep trying to burn this interaction down to the ground. You spend 2-3 hours with them on the phone call. You keep following up with them excessively. You just don't get the hint. Instead of spending your energy elsewhere and letting this person go and letting them reach out to you in the future, you just keep badgering this one person without, focusing on what's needed. This is when you try to control the flow. Just like when you try to manipulate a person, you try to control this person who's not listening to you. You become forceful. But essentially, in this flow, we try to force our way through this flow. We try to force our way through this flow instead of trying to navigate our movement within the flow. So here's the key difference. Instead of focusing on trying to control this flow of life, manipulating people, instead focus on your own movement within the flow. You can move around within the flow. You can move up and you can move down. You can't just say, oh yeah, the stock market is crashing, but somehow I'm gonna get rich in the stock market. This stock is going down, but somehow I'm gonna force myself to get rich. Instead of just being observant and looking at other opportunities that are already there within the flow, you try to force this. It's kind of like forcing a business to succeed that you're not passionate about and you don't care for, and there's no market need for it. You're just going against the flow and you don't even care about this niche. You think you should do it because everyone else is doing it. So that's the key difference here. Instead of trying to change the flow, control your movement within it. That essentially means shifting your focus from controlling to simply observing. Someone gives you unsolicited advice. Instead of rejecting it, just listen. Someone angers you. Instead of reacting to that anger, just observe. Whatever's happening, just observe and let it be. Even though you might not agree with it, this is the subtlety of becoming open. When you become observing, you become more open. When you become more controlling and opinionated, you operate from your existing beliefs. And your existing beliefs won't get you where you're wanting to go. They need to be upgraded. So, how you go from trying to control the flow to moving within the flow is just simply going from control to observing and acting on intuitively what needs to be acted on. And you will know. If you just become very, very observant, deeply observant, you will know when to act and when to just not act. Most of the time you won't be acting, but when you do act, it'll be very effective and you'll commit to it. You've got to look internally of where you're attributing too much meaning to things and how you feel within about it. How do you feel about the goal? Do you really want this? Whatever you're going for, do you really want this or do you want to want it? Are you forcing yourself to want it? Is this a goal that you really want to achieve, or has it been conditioned by other people within you to achieve? So for most people, hitting a revenue level like a 10K month has been something they've been conditioned to achieve. It's not what they truly want. They want what the money will bring them. If you look at very, very successful people, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all of these guys look at money differently. They look at it as a resource to help them support what they want to do for humanity. They have this goal for life. They have this goal for their lives. What's your goal for your own life? What do you want to experience? And what do you need to support that? That'll come. And then as your vision, as your goal gets larger and larger, the money to support that will come. So internally, you've just got to surrender sometimes to all of those things that are bubbling up under the surface. We get a hidden payoff from being anxious. It becomes a part of our identity. When you become anxious, it's a feeling of familiarity because you've been anxious for so long. It's like, oh, this is just how I am. Oh, depression, this is just how I am. I have this chemical imbalance and, I take these pills for it. This is just how I am. You sort of succumb to it. When you give yourself an excuse to feel that, instead of just allowing it to be and being with it, we distract ourselves then with activity, with drama, social media, with binge eating, with TV, so that we can just escape this. Your feelings start running you when you stop giving it your attention and letting it dissolve in this attention, but you get distracted in other things. When you start to hold on to things, your feelings like anxiety, like pride, like fear, like shame, like guilt, like apathy, when you start to hold on to these things, you become less open to receiving those things or operating from that place of being that you need to operate to achieve what you want. The higher frequency energies. You become like a closed hand. We've been so accustomed to feeling fear, to feeling anxiety, to feeling all of these things that it just becomes a habit. This is what happens with our feelings. We just pent them up and hold on to them. We don't know what it's like to feel empty, to feel peaceful, to feel joyous, to actually feel alive. We're deadening ourselves to all of those beautiful things because we hold on to the littler things that we're just accustomed to. That's why you engage yourself in drama, that's why you escape from it, that's why there's drugs and drinking. All of those things don't really serve you. So this is how you get internally more open. You become, instead of this closed hand, you become this open hand. Any energy, any feeling that flows through you, it's allowed to now pass. All of this energy is now allowed to pass. So now you can truly receive. Of course, there'll be pain. There's always pain, and pain leads to more learning. But it's your attitude towards this pain that determines what you achieve. We always want to set goals because human beings, we're goal-striving mechanisms. But what happens is we eventually become too controlling. Dependence on what we know and our limited perception of the world starts to get in our way. And when this happens, we prevent the universe, the larger mind, from making interventions in the divine way that it does. And because we start to get attached to our ways of thinking and being, we limit ourselves, we handicap ourselves. In short, we become very, very controlling, and this doesn't serve us. And upon looking deeper into that, what happened was, it was always when I let go of it, right? The intention was there, but the desire behind it vanished. And because I didn't need it, I just went out and took it, almost kind of like going out to the mailbox and grabbing mail. Because it became that simple, there was no overthinking about it. You subconsciously act. You just go out and get it. You make the intention, you let go of it, and you go out and act. So every single time, whenever I didn't need the sale closed. Whenever I didn't need to, hit the fitness goal and actually stopped going to the gym for a while and rested, I would come back and hit a PR. So from that, I started to realize that, wait a second, in every single area of your life, whenever you let go and you rest, that's when you allow the universe to kind of make these pathways so it delivers the goal to you. Instead of you chasing this goal, you actually start to attract it into your life. And this attraction happens because when you truly let go of it, you actually become the one that's worthy of that goal. You get into the state of beingness, as opposed to, I need to do this in order to have this, and this precondition needs to be met, and I need to do that, and that needs to happen in order for me to get this goal. When you let go of all of those attachments that you had originally about how you thought the goal was going to be achieved, and you just say, whatever happens, happens, somehow it's going to happen anyways. You get into the pure assumption that it is going to happen, the trust and the faith that it is going to happen, and it actually just comes about. You just let go of it. You stop trying to hold your grip so hard on the world. Effort and surrender. You've got to find the sweet spot between putting effort and getting surrendered. This can also be understood by looking at the concept of the heart and the mind. Whenever you focus on a goal, it first begins at the mind. And then the mind sort of defines the boundaries and what it is you want. And then the heart, the soul, the subconscious mind gets to work in manifesting it for you. So whenever that happens, it's like the mind is the gateway. If the mind doesn't give permission and the mind isn't open to it, the heart won't even bother. This is why whenever you doubt something, it never really happens. Whenever you doubt that a goal will be achieved and you keep feeding those doubts, the mind gets into the mode of doubt, then the goal never gets achieved. The heart can't really get to work because, it's being stunted by the mind. In yoga, we have the balance between effort and surrender. Now, this balance is very, very individual. It's different for everyone. So you've got to find your own balance on how to do that. But you'll just feel it. And a key to understanding whether you've reached a balance, and please listen to this carefully, is knowing that whenever you think about the goal, how does that goal make you feel? How does the thought of not achieving the goal make you feel? Do you feel this attachment, this stiff feeling in your solar plexus area? If you do, that means there's too much attachment. There's a simple way you can find out if you're too attached to the goal or not. And it's just asking yourself, how does not achieving this goal make me feel? Can I be okay with not achieving this goal? Can I be okay with letting this go? And if you can, then that means you're in a surrendered state, a neutral state. You have no attachments and no biases. That's the state we want to be at. Now, too much surrender will never serve you, and too much effort will never serve you. For example, if you become too surrendered, what happens is you just become lazy and aloof, and you just forget what it is you wanted. Anytime in the pursuit of your goals, you always get to a little bit of attachment, and the key is to let go of this attachment. So this is just the price to pay in achieving your goals, because we don't always know how to get to our goals in the most effective way. Whenever you sort of go out there and try to achieve a goal, naturally you're going to build up attachment. That's just how it is. But it's just what you do with this attachment. Constantly maintaining this state of surrenderedness, non-neediness, is always going to be the key. Your muscles grow when you rest. When you let go of that person, you give them space to come back to you. When you let go of the goal and stop thinking about the goal all the time, and stop thinking and doubting the goal all the time, what happens is now your mind becomes a little bit more open to seeing the possibilities that might even lead you to achieving this goal. Do all of your things, do whatever is needed, and do it for a period of 7 days. The visualization, the affirmation, etc. Do it for a period of 7 days. For the first 7 days, you do it every single day. This is the focusing period. Now for the next 7 days, after the 7 days are over, you want to completely stop doing any of those activities. No more visualizing, no more scripting. You just completely forget about it. And what's going to happen when you forget about it is we're going to get into that defocusing period, aka surrender. And this is when things will start to fall into place naturally. Synchronicities will happen. You'll start to see confirmations around you. Make sure you reward those confirmations. But try not to think about this goal too much. Just let it out of your conscious awareness and let it sink into your subconscious awareness. Inevitably, you're going to start thinking about this goal because there's going to be attachment built up from the 7 days of work that you've done. Let any fears, any doubts, any anxieties, anything that has a negative pull towards it that come up, surrender that. And in order to understand how to surrender, there's basically 2 steps. First of all, it's getting okay with not achieving this goal. And number 2, it's just letting any of those intense feelings up and stopping this hold on them, aka just letting those feelings be. So whenever you think about that 10K a month goal you want to get to, a 20K a month goal you want to get to in your business, and then just ask yourself if you're just willing to let that be. Am I willing to let that feeling be there without trying to change it, without trying to alter it? Just ask the question. You don't even need to answer it. Am I willing to stop holding on to this? Am I willing to let this go? Obviously the answer is going to be yes. But again, the answers don't matter. It's just the matter of asking the question. Because the more you ask this question, the more you get less and less unconscious about it and get a little bit more conscious about it. You just genuinely let that feeling be there. And when you do, the energy behind that feeling gets surrendered. And now you're getting more and more into that place of ease. Now you're going to actually start to be okay with not achieving this goal in the first place.